Sam Altman, right? Now, Sam Altman, again, I've been following this. I've been bringing this to the front of the congregation. Sam Altman was the CEO of OpenAI. OpenAI is the company that brought us ChatGPT. Microsoft invested over $12 billion into OpenAI, again, which is the company that brought us ChatGPT. Was recently fired, right? There was a board coup. Now, people kept trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Why are they pushing out their revolutionary leader and founder, Sam Altman, the CEO of the company? And then on top of that, Nadella over there at Microsoft, which is the CEO of Microsoft, immediately hired him as a part of the research team over at Microsoft. And then they basically put him back in a position where he became CEO again of OpenAI. So it's been a lot of conversation happening over there. But let me bring you up to speed on some of the things that's happening and what's being revealed that people are not familiar with, okay?
We're learning more about the ouster and return of OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. Reuters reporting that before the board fired Altman, several staff researchers wrote a letter to the board warning of a powerful artificial intelligence discovery that they said could threaten humanity. Sources telling Reuters that the previously unreported letter and AI breakthrough were key developments ahead of Altman's ouster and factored in to the board's list of grievances with Altman. Other concerns included commercializing these advances before understanding the consequences. The day before Altman was fired, he told world leaders at the APEC summit that he believed major advances were in sight. And Becky, we've been talking about the soap opera for so long, but I mean, a very short soap opera, by the way, given that it happened over the course of 72 hours. But so interesting that now we're hearing that there really was and really is some kind of innovation that may actually make people unnerved. And
so part of the reason why they're saying that he was ousted was because the technology is developing so fast with artificial intelligence that they're saying that there was a major breakthrough that happened over there at the company that they're just pushing out here to the general public, but they are not taking into consideration what is going to happen or what is happening or what the possible ramifications could be for the general public and humanity itself. Reuters reported specifically and said ahead of OpenAI CEO Sam Altman's 4-day ago exile, the staff, several staff researchers wrote in a letter to the board of directors warning of a powerful artificial intelligence discovery that they said could threaten humanity. Two people familiar with the matter told Reuters. The previously unreported letter and AI algorithm were key developments before the board's ouster of Altman, the poster child of generative AI. So he's going to be the face of AI because he's the person that broke through and then brought this to the face, brought this to what we got going on today. They said prior to his triumphant return on Tuesday, which he is the CEO again of OpenAI, more than 700 employees had threatened to quit and join backer Microsoft in solidarity with their fired leader. So what's basically being reported by the general public, which is somewhat being silenced because this is not something that's being communicated openly to everybody, is that there's some kind of breakthrough that's happening in artificial intelligence, specifically with OpenAI right now. And they are very, very scared of what it means to the general public who are not familiar with the level of technology that they're leveraging over at these companies now. So I will continue to keep an eye on it because I know that this is something that's not necessarily popular to talk about within the culture, but I think that it's absolutely imperative for us to talk about it with regard to how it comes back to the money and how it come back to us as far as how we're going to be affected in our daily lives. All right. So in addition to that, now advocates are pushing, which I told you guys that this was going to happen. I warned you guys that this was going to happen. Advocates are pushing for a more permanent legal change after the one-year window closed yesterday. So Thanksgiving, it closed yesterday for the new lawsuits under New York's Adult Survivors Act. Let me bring y'all up to speed on what's happening on that front so that we can then have a little bit of a conversation, and then I'll share with you guys what my thoughts are on that.
More celebrities are facing lawsuits this morning with just hours until a temporary New York law expires. The Adult Survivors Act lets victims, adult victims that is, sue over attacks that occurred even decades ago. A former Penthouse magazine model sued Axl Rose yesterday, claiming the Guns N' Roses singer raped her in 1989. Rose's attorney denied the claims. In two lawsuits filed yesterday, two women accused actor Cuba Gooding Jr. of groping them in 2018 and 2019. Another lawsuit filed this week accuses actor Jamie Foxx of sexual assault in an incident in 2015. More than 2,500 lawsuits have been filed under the temporary law this past year, including against former President Donald Trump, Sean Diddy Combs, and actor Russell Brand.
So let's stop there for a second, right? Because now, just as I predicted, advocates, specifically women, 99.9 of them, are basically pushing for an additional extension of a more than permanent way to seek legal accountability for abusers after more than 2,500 lawsuits were filed under the New York Adult Survivors Act before its one-year window closed on Thanksgiving, which was yesterday, okay? It said the law, which Democrat Governor Haley or Kathy Hochul signed in May 2022, created the one-year window for people who were 18 years or older at the time of an alleged offense to file a lawsuit against their alleged abusers and the institutions that enabled them. Basically, you can be anywhere, and anywhere that you are that's a business can be sued, in addition to that, regardless of the statute of limitations, which is why you've seen Axl Rose being sued for something that happened in 1989. Eric Adams got sued for something that they said happened, that's alleged happened in 1993. Jamie Foxx is allegedly countersuing, so I'm doing a little bit of research on that before I report it to y'all about something that happened that they said happened in 2015. Cuba Gooding Jr., Diddy, and a host of other people that some are big, some are small, some are visible, some not so much. People in positions of power all across the board were being sued based off of this new statute of limitations, regardless of what it's being alleged or whether or not you had proof in order to be able to prove whether or not this person actually did it or not. But I already warned you guys. I told you that this was going to be a thing. All they did was open up the floodgates for people to be able to get a free ride in a lot of instances, because now you have the ability to sue civilly and there's no criminal charges that come as a result of it. But you have Democratic governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, that is now at the forefront of this movement because she is the one that signed it in the law in the first place. And so when I see guys a lot of times not even understanding the ramifications of their actions, listen, this is the same thing that happened with the alphabet community and when y'all voted Obama into office, right? And it's not to say that Obama didn't do a necessarily good job for what he was needed for other things at the time, but what he brought in addition to that was he ushered in an era where it wasn't just about whether or not you have rights or whether or not you should be acknowledged or whether or not you shouldn't be discriminated against as a human being at work. They also advocated against and won gay marriage, and then it transitioned all the way through so many different phases to where now is men participating in women's sports, and you want to close the book on it or you want to put Pandora back in the box, and it's too late. So now that guys felt as though first, people felt as though it wasn't necessary to be able to vote. Now you get into office, people and women who have an agenda that continues to push the very thing that we think is bad for the family. They continue to push policy, and now they're continuing to remix the law to where you can basically extend the possibility of accusing somebody without proof in a civil lawsuit of doing something to you, even if it was 30, 40, and 50 years ago. I told you that this was going to happen. I warned you that this was going to happen. I'm going to read the super chat shortly. I told you that this was going to happen. This is not something that is new. I've seen it. I'm telling you, there's no one person above the group. So whether you are a part of the black community and you want to separate yourself based off of that, whether you want to separate yourself based off of gender, because even when you vote these people in office that do the thing that's not best for your community or best for your family, it affects you too, ladies. Even if you want to separate yourself based off of race, or you want to separate yourself based off of tall or short, or whether you are an American or not, or whether you are visa. Listen, from the migrant crisis to policies that incentivize people to break up their families to no repercussions of accusing people of doing something that they didn't do, to the cash grab from women that accuse men of doing things that they didn't do, all the way to men being released every single day based off of the Innocence Project of being accused of things that they didn't do for years. And then there's no repercussions of accusing somebody of doing something and then proving it wrong. We just going down a rabbit hole. It's really, really bad. And I'm telling you that there's so many people that are running scared, even to the point to where I think that it might even be a revolt from people that have money and resources now that they see how this is affecting them. Exhibit A. Let me go over to the next quick hit, and then I'll tell you an example of it. Bill Cosby. I bet y'all didn't see that coming. In addition to Eric Adams, in addition to Jamie Foxx and Cuba Gooding Jr. and Axl Rose and Jimmy Iovine, did y'all know that Bill Cosby is actually being sued in a new lawsuit based off of this Survivors Act, this Adult Survivors Act law? They're being sued in a new lawsuit by a stand-in from the Cosby Show. Take a look.
A woman who accused Bill Cosby of drugging and raping her is now suing him under the New York Adult Survivors Act.
Joan Tarshis is using the law's 1-year look-back period.
Now check it out. She's sitting there with a Kamala LA hat on. So she's from Los Angeles, apparently, got the Kamala LA hat on, and looks old as piss. And you can come back decades later from being a stand-in on the Cosby Show and sue Bill Cosby, the pudding king. This is insane, man.
House claims that have already passed the statute of limitations. Her lawsuit accuses Cosby of battery, assault, emotional distress, and false imprisonment more than 50 years ago. Cosby
50. Yo, we got to get a Guinness Book of World Records for how long ago this is. A woman that's accusing him of doing something 50. Never heard of this woman a day in our life. Accusing him of doing something from 50 years ago.
He was convicted of sexual assault in 2018, but got out of prison because of a due process issue. More than 50 women have accused him of rape or assault. He's denied any wrongdoing.
So Bill Cosby continues to be under fire. They say Bill can't even see no more. But, he's being sued based off of an accusation from 50 years ago. And he's not the only one. So if Bill can get got from 50 years ago, that means that you as a, 30-year-old man, 25-year-old man, that means that they got a good 60 more years, if you live that long, to be able to come after you and your estate based off of the advocacy of extending permanently the Adult Survivors Act, which only allowed for you to be able to get your stuff in within a year. But the lawyers are licking their chops and they're making a lot of money as a result of this. So be very, very careful, be mindful of what's going on out here in these streets, because it could affect you. Whether you actually did it or not is irrelevant. The only thing that matters is whether or not you're being accused. All right?